Okay, today we are getting into a viral trend that has everyone talking and maybe smelling a little bit pungent. We're talking about garlic and its supposed superpower for your hair.
So here's the big question, right? Can something you just have sitting in your kitchen really be the secret weapon against thinning hair? I mean, social media is absolutely buzzing with this stuff, but what is the real story? Let's get into it. You know how it is. If you've ever looked up ways to help your hair, the internet is just a wild place. It's this endless sea of advice, and you've got everything from gentle remedies to some really extreme promises. It can be so tough to figure out what's safe and what might actually work. Now, before we even get to the garlic, let's start with the foundation. We need to talk about carrier oils. Think of these as the gentle, nourishing base that you'd use in a lot of natural hair treatments. They're all about creating a healthy, happy environment for your hair to just thrive.
And what's so cool here is how specific they can be. You've got all these options, and each one has its own little specialty. Like castor oil is amazing for getting circulation going if your hair is thinning. But if you have an oily scalp, jojoba oil is brilliant because it's super similar to your skin's own natural oils. These aren't magic bullets, but they build that solid, healthy foundation.
All right, so we've covered the gentle stuff. Now, let's get to our main event, garlic. This is an ancient remedy that has found a whole new and very powerful life as a modern viral trend.
So on one side, you've got really enthusiastic creators like Pretty Prerna here. They're championing garlic-infused oils, and they're talking from their own experience. They promise stronger hair, less breakage, what she calls tensile strength. And it's super compelling to hear those firsthand stories, right?
But then you have the other side, and it's a really stark warning from a consultant trichologist, Eva Proudman. She's basically saying, hold on, please do not just rub raw garlic on your scalp. Why? Because it can actually cause chemical burns. And right there, you have this huge tension between the promise and the peril. So why do people swear by this? I mean, why has garlic been a folk remedy for so long? Well, the traditional case for it is actually pretty strong. Chemically, it's packed with sulfur, which is a key building block for hair. It's got great vitamins and minerals, and it has these powerful antimicrobial properties, which can help keep your scalp clean and healthy, which is, the perfect starting point for growth. Okay, so personal stories and traditional medicine are one thing. But what happens when we actually put these claims under a microscope? Let's head into the science lab and see what the data really says. And that brings us to this really fascinating study from just last year, 2023, published in a journal called Curious. Researchers wanted to know, point blank, can garlic promote hair growth? Now, this is really important. The entire experiment was done on rats, not on people. So the scientists used this incredible technology involving something called exosomes. The easiest way to think about them is like tiny little delivery trucks or messenger packages. They basically isolated these from garlic so they could carry all the good stuff, all those active compounds, directly to the cells. It's a really precise way to test it. So the setup was pretty simple. For 42 days, they took these shaved rats and gave them the garlic exosomes. Some took it orally, some got it applied right on their skin, and the whole goal was just to watch and measure any new hair growth compared to a control group. And the results? Honestly, they were staggering. The biggest takeaway comes down to one number, 105.7. That was the average number of active growing hair follicles in the group that got a high dose of garlic. And the control group, they had an average of 0. That is a massive, massive difference. And when you look at it on a chart like this, it's just, wow. On the left, you've got the control group, flat line, no active growth. And on the right, the garlic group is just off the charts. The visual contrast is absolutely undeniable. So what was actually happening here? Well, the researchers concluded that these garlic exosomes were essentially flipping a cellular on switch for hair growth. They activated this specific biological pathway. It's called the WNT/beta-catenin pathway, which is known to play a huge role in regeneration. It basically kicked all these dormant follicles back into action. Okay, those lab results are incredibly exciting. But, and this is a really, really big but, that study used a very precise, high-tech delivery method on rats. So how does that translate to you or me crushing up some garlic in the kitchen? Let's get to an expert's final word on safety. And that brings us right back to that critical warning. The sulfuric compounds in raw garlic, they are no joke. They're potent, they're powerful enough to cause serious skin irritation, and yes, even chemical burns. This is not a risk you want to take lightly. So, if after all of this you are still determined to try it, the experts are begging you to be extremely cautious. First, you have to do a patch test on your arm and wait. Second, never ever apply it straight. You have to dilute it, and dilute it a lot in a carrier oil. Then, strain all the solid pieces out. Apply just a tiny bit for only 10 minutes, and then shampoo it out completely. Seriously, safety first. So, where does this leave us? Well, it really comes down to this clear balance of promise versus peril. On the one hand, yeah, you've got this natural source of stuff that's great for hair and some really exciting but very preliminary lab results. On the other hand, you have a serious risk of hurting your scalp, a very potent smell, and zero clinical data on humans. And that leaves us with this final thought. We have this ancient remedy that seems to be backed up by some brand new science. But, and this is the key, the science used a refined, targeted system, not a DIY kitchen concoction. So the real question isn't just, does garlic work? It's, can its power ever be safely used outside of a lab? For now, this viral hack stays firmly in the proceed with extreme caution category.